Hi, it's Trent Goodbody, Freedom from Government. How's it going? I just wanted to bring you a little message today. A lot of us have been exposing the crime of the United States Corporation for many years, but until recently, no one has had the proof that all government offices are vacant. No one is home. Those supposed government offices and agencies are being occupied by private contractors and are not being occupied by a legitimate government body. This is equivalent to the ice cream man knocking on your door and extorting taxes from you. He has no lawful authority to do anything other than drive the ice cream truck. He's not a government official. He's an ice cream man. Your supposed government officials are nothing more than ice cream men and women who are fraudulently extorting money from you and your family, throwing you in prison, taxing you to death, stealing your children, and imposing their will on you, and enforcing their own internal statutory rules and codes upon you and your family. Someone named Rod Class has now received 4 administrative rulings that prove what many of us have felt to be truth. What you think is your government, and what you think are legitimate government officials, senators, congressmen, policemen, governors, tax collectors, etc., are nothing more than private contractors extorting money from American citizens and failing to pay off the public debt as they are instructed to do by the 1933 bankruptcy. What they have done is this. These people have switched places with the average American citizen. They're enforcing their own administrative codes that are only meant for them upon regular citizens who are not being paid by the corporation. The supposed elected officials have hoodwinked the country into an employment position without pay. They themselves are taking public money to occupy government seats, positions, and agencies when they are nothing more than private contractors. This is equivalent to a felony. They're treating us as if we are paid government employees, enforcing their own internal rules, regulations, and codes and statutes on the average citizen, as well as conveniently forgetting to send us our paycheck, our weekly, monthly government employment check. I've been preaching this for several years now with no avail. Perhaps now people will begin to listen and take action. Actually, I have been getting some limited success. With people being successful. In the radio shows, though, listed below, Rod explains his links are below. Rod explains his administrative rulings from the various judges, explains the con, and shows you where in their very own U.S. codes the above aforementioned information is spot on. There are a few shows you need to listen to, but here are some of the bullet points of those shows. All bar attorneys are prohibited from representing John Q. Public. They can only represent government officials and employees within their own agencies. Their bar charter says so. Any judge that prohibits you from representing yourself or hiring a defense or other than a bar attorney are in fact committing a felony on the bench in violation of the Taft-Hartley Act. In other words, running a closed union shop, and the Smith Act, overthrow of constitutional form of government. By the way, I wouldn't be representing myself in court anyway. I would be present as a living man. Anytime a bar attorney represents someone in a case against you, you can now claim that person is incompetent, a ward of the state, with no standing to sue. Just think of the implications of this. Everybody thinks they have to have a lawyer, so this is an easy way to win. Any and all tax collectors, police officers, sheriff's department, Department of Transportation, any kind of tag agencies, bar attorneys, judges, highway patrol, supposed elected officials are nothing more than private contractors who can now be brought up on fraud charges for impersonating a public official while receiving federal funding. Any and all home, vehicle, credit card loans are supposed to be discharged through the Treasury window in compliance with the 1933 bankruptcy laws. But these scumbags are double dipping and never discharging the debt like they are supposed to. They are embezzling the funds and pocketing them for themselves. Every person sitting in prison today was railroaded by a bar attorney whose first allegiance is to the state, not to the client, and who had no lawful authority to represent them even, who worked in concert with the state to perpetrate a fraud on its victims. Orders from administrative courts prove for the fourth time an agency of the state is not an agency under the state. Elected officials are claiming 11th Amendment sovereignty when it's actually you and I that hold 11th Amendment sovereignty. They're getting paid by the corporation. Do you ever remember getting paid by them? I don't either. They have admitted to the crime of no one actually holding a public office. They are filling corporate seats and defrauding the public. Political subdivisions are not getting their 40% funding from the feds as they're supposed to get. These judges have admitted, which is black ink on white paper, that all these state offices are empty. We now have administrative paperwork ruling these public offices aren't part of the state agencies. Attorney generals may not practice law. They can't represent the people who are not public officials. If the state is a third-party interloper in your marriage via marriage license, vehicle titles, which is state registration, etc., then they are liable for 1/3 of the cost to manage the daily activities of the contract. What do you think about that? If the state demands you have a driver's license and tag your vehicle because it's registered with the state, then as owner of the vehicle, the state is required to pay for the vehicle, the tags, licensing, fuel, tires, oil, etc. They're also to pay you a salary for driving a state-owned vehicle. It says so in their own Highway Safety Act and United States Code and the CFR, rules and regulations. We now have the court orders that go back and nullify any and all IRS and tax cases, foreclosures, credit card debt cases or actions. These people never had the lawful right to demand anything of you. They're corporate actors, not a legitimate government agency or government body, not a legitimate government body. A judge admitted to the 1933 bankruptcy and no way to pay off anything because of Federal Reserve notes. All public debt is to be just discharged through the Treasury. Only the Secretary of Transportation can hear traffic cases. All other traffic cases are civil, not criminal. If you're not being paid for your time, you're not required to have one of their CDL or CMV licenses. It's prohibited. Rod also says we now have a major labor dispute on our hands. U.S. corporation running a slave racket against American citizens without pay. United States codes, USC, and Titles 1 through 50 are void, have never been passed by Congress, and have all been repealed. And as we've all been saying for a long time, if you're not getting a weekly or monthly paycheck from the so-called federal government, also known as the United States, in all capitals, or one of its sub-corporations such as State of Nevada, State of Oregon, also in all capitals, then their statutory rules, not laws, codes, and regulations do not apply to you, period. Period. There's so much information packed into the links below. I can't even begin to share them in this video. But if you want your freedom, and if you want to know with 100% surety, without being surety, that is, that the foreign corporation known as the United States has zero authority over you unless you are receiving a weekly paycheck from them, take the time to listen and read the links below. And believe me, it's pure listening pleasure with the court filings, rulings, and U.S. code to back it all up. It's what we need, what we've been needing. By the time you finish these few short shows, your fear of government will be a thing of the past. I can't vouch for that 100%, but you'll be well on your way there. Also, many of Rod's current filings are against the infrastructure are below. Some may be easy to download, some may not. Hopefully now, in light of these administrative court rulings, people will now come to realize the fact that unless you are getting a weekly check from government, their statutory rules, codes, and regulations they put off as laws have zero force or effect on you. No contract equals no jurisdiction. Did you fill out an employment contract with the state? Are they paying you for your services? If not, why the hell are you following the rules? This is how we change our current form of government back to the republic it was initially intended to be. If you don't take the time to listen to at least some of these shows at the links below, you're overlooking the most important information ever to come to light within the liberty movement. I don't want to call it a liberty movement, but maybe the awareness, the awakening movement, finding out who we are. And I would not call it it tends to be something that looks like a revolution, but I would call it an evolution. And please stop looking for a savior to save you from tyranny, to save everybody from tyranny. Just listen to these links below. Now you are your own savior. Individually, now you can make a huge difference in our political structure and form of government. All I have to add to that is thank you for taking the time to watch my videos, and I'll be making more of them. I make them.